I'm joined here today by the one and only Andre Fili, currently trying to fix himself a cup of coffee before he fights Charles Jourdain at UFC Apex. What's going on, man? How are you?
What's up? Right now, I'm just struggling with this espresso machine. I'm trying not to suck at making my own coffee.
For sure, man. Are you one of those guys where you're very good at making these different kind of coffees, like the cappuccino and everything, or are you very reliant on the machine?
I'm okay. I'm getting better, but I definitely use the machine. If right now the machine's not giving me a very good shot, so I'm trying to remedy that. I'd like to blame it on the machine, but it's probably mostly me. Also, my
There
front
we.
my front camera's kind of banged up, so it might get a little blurry depending on how the light is. But bear with me. I cracked
For sure,
I
man.
cracked the front of my screen, and the world's been in chaos for the past however long, so I haven't really got it fixed. It don't bother me too much, but when I do interviews, I realize my front camera's in bad shape.
You don't have the OCD like some people, where every time you look at your phone screen, it bothers you.
I have really bad OCD with a lot of situations, but for whatever reason, my phone screen is not one of them. Like, I just I just don't mind it that much. I don't know. I've learned to live with it. It just like becomes a normal thing. I'm not sure what it is, but it doesn't bother me that much. I need to handle it because at some parts up around my camera, like my camera, there's absolutely no glass. It's literally just
Okay.
like exposed camera. Like there's no screen on it at all because I've gone so long and so many pieces of the screen have fallen off. But man, it's weird. Like I don't really use my phone to talk on the phone very much. Like I don't really put it to my ear very much. I don't really I don't really FaceTime a lot. If someone calls me, I would much rather text. If someone calls me, I usually speakerphone it or I'm in the car or something. So it's like I don't know. It just don't bother me that much. I'm trying to be. I mean, it's kind of hypocritical as I'm relying on a machine to make my coffee, but I'm trying to be less
Right.
reliant on machine, like on my technology, man. Like I've been trying to read more and do more stuff that gets me off the screen a little bit, but I don't know how well I'm succeeding.
But listen, man, how's quarantine been for you? I heard California has been extremely locked down. Like, there's been tons of restrictions. Have you been surviving okay?
I've been thriving. No,
There we go.
yeah, I've been doing what I feel like everyone's trying to do is just do their best, and I'm excited to have opportunity to make some money, and I'm planning on buying a home and making big boy purchases. So it feels good to have opportunity to make some money. But I've been training and just trying to stay out of the way and stay out of trouble and be the best person I can be, help out my neighbors when I can, and just take this as it comes. It's super uncertain for everyone. I feel like so. I'm just trying to be a good person and win fights.
And so, how did this fight come together for you? I know a lot of guys, they've been trying to fight during the pandemic. Some of them are stuck and all that stuff. Did you have any doubt that you would come back and fight during this time?
No, I stayed ready. I figured with so much uncertainty there would be a lot of people sort of like not committing to fight, and I figured the company would need people. When I saw how Dana was adamant on keeping the sport going, which I respect a lot, I knew that they would need people to step up, and so I got the fight on pretty short notice. So obviously, there's always going to be, like the weight cut. You have a lot shorter of a time to cut the weight, and there are challenges presented by a short notice fight. But I've been training however I can. I've been staying in good shape, and I've been keeping my skills sharp through this whole thing. Just however I can get the training in. I feel like this is one of those situations where you have to adapt and survive. It's not going to be exactly how it was before, but still you can still get better. You got to find ways to get better no matter what's going on in the world, in my opinion. So, um, yeah.
And so, how's training camp going for you so far? I talked to Josh Emmett, I think, about a week ago, something like that. He says you guys have been getting a lot of good work in together. How's that going for you so far?
Really well, man. Josh is a great person and a great teammate, and super lucky to have him in the room with me. And I always like when him and I are fighting, either on the same card or relatively close together, because it means we get to be kind of at the same points in our camp and get to train together a bunch. And man, I can't say enough good things about Josh Emmett. He's just a great person, and um, he's a great person, a great teammate, great training partner. And I like as a fight fan, you kind of have to love watching him fight. He's a 6 foot dude. He gets in there and just throws heavy hands, and he's a perfect example of what most of the fighters actually are, like a good person and a monster in the cage. But outside the cage, he's a great dude, and I like training with him. I like having him as a partner, and yeah, it's awesome, man.
And so before we get to talk about your fight and all that good stuff, all the good pre-fight stuff, I need to know, man, we saw for a while you were pursuing an acting career. You did some stuff in a movie. How's the acting career going so far? I assume things must be on hold with the pandemic, but is it still moving along?
Yeah, fighting is my main focus, and it'll be my main focus for the foreseeable future. But acting is something that I plan on transitioning to, and something that I'm really passionate about, and I'm going to do it successfully. It's one of those things that I'm manifesting and making a point to pursue it, and pursue it in a genuine way. I don't want it to gimmicky. I don't want it to be, like you see a lot of guys do you see guys sometimes you see fighters like in movies, and it's sort of a gimmicky thing. Like they're just a guy who like jumps on camera and throws a spin kick and then gets shot and falls off camera, and that's their whole thing. Like, I don't want to do that. I want to really act. I want to do real, narrative driven films. I want to be a character that matters in the narrative, to the narrative. But, I want to do it for real. Anything I do, I want to do in a genuine way. And so, being able to do that, being able to have my first role be a role like the one I had for Green Fever was a real blessing. I'm excited to do more, man. But right now, fighting is the absolute and only main focus. Like, there just isn't room for anything else in my life at this exact moment. And, it's not bad timing because things are on hold with the pandemic, but yeah, nobody should get it twisted. I'm a fighter. I'm a fighter until I can accomplish goals that I set out to accomplish in the sport, and after that, I'd like to pursue acting. And when opportunities present themselves, I jump on them. So I had a break in between my fights, and I got a chance to be in that movie, and then I took it. So it was perfect. And if an opportunity like that arises again, I'll get it again. But yeah, I want to do. There's a lot of things I'm passionate outside of fighting, but fighting is the focus right now.
All right, speaking of fighting, let's talk about your fight a little bit. First things first, how do you like the matchup? I assume, of course, you love the matchup. It'd be a first if you didn't like it. But how do you sort of look at the matchup heading into this one?
I think it's good, man. I think Charles Jourdain is a dangerous opponent. I think he's good. Yeah, I really like the matchup. I think it's going to be exciting, and I think he's going to get in too deep with me, and I'm going to put him away. He's really good, but he, as I almost just spilled shit all over my kitchen floor, day in the life. Your life is hazardous. I think he's going to get in too deep with me, and I think I'm going to put him away. He's a really good striker, and he seems to have a pretty slick guard as well. He doesn't look bad anywhere. I think it's a great matchup for me, and I think it's going to be a highlight finish, man. I think he's going to be a little too confident. I'm not looking past him. He hasn't been in the UFC long, but it doesn't mean anything. I fought Calvin K when he fought for his debut, and nobody really knew who he was, and he's one of the best 45ers in the world. So I don't look past anyone. As far as I'm concerned, Jourdain is my most dangerous, biggest fight of my career. Like this is do right for me. This is all or nothing.
And so one thing we have seen in your career is that one of the things you've accomplished is you managed to fight the greatest of all time and beat him. I am, of course, talking about Artem Lobov. Does that ever sink in that you managed to fight the GOAT? Like, do you ever sit back and think of that accomplishment?
Yeah, I try not to dwell on my past victories. I can't get too high with the highs or low with the lows, but that's definitely a feather in my cap. I saw someone do the MMA math, made Artem the heavyweight champ of the world.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? Have you seen that?
I've seen some of them. I don't know if I've seen his specifically, but I wouldn't be surprised. He's the GOAT for a reason, right?
True. Yeah. There was basically they went from like they went through they basically went through like yeah, who was it? Matt Hamill beat John Jones. John Jones beat DC, and DC beat this guy, and they went down the line. And it got down to Artem Lobov, and then I beat Artem Lobov. So like,
Oh,
I think I'm technically the heavyweight champ, I guess, if we're doing math like that. So yeah, no big deal. No reason to be impressed. No reason to be impressed. Unless you want to be, then yeah, go for it.
yeah, no reason to be impressed. You beat the GOAT, and we've also found out here live that you're the UFC heavyweight champion. So, I mean, no big deal, right?
Yeah, you can't argue with facts and science.
Right, even if it's MMA math. But listen, man, I do want to talk about your last fight a little bit. Unfortunately, things didn't quite go your way. What do you take away from that fight?
Ooh, damn, that was good coffee. I just made some good coffee.
I think the people are going to be very happy to hear that. Not only you fixed the machine, but the coffee's good too.
Coffee, that's a damn good latte. That's a damn good almond milk latte I just made. Um, yeah, I thought that I won the last fight. I thought I won the first. I thought I won the third. I like Sadiq, man. He's a good dude. He's a fucking great fighter. Hits hard. Good dude. Nothing bad to say about him, but I thought I beat him. I even going back and watching it, like I see that it was close, but I sort of don't understand. I think most people get stuck on a narrative, and they stick to the narrative more than they actually see what's going on. It kind of trips me out. Like I love Joe Rogan, but like I really love that he's yeah, I love Joe Rogan, man. He's awesome. But I was kind of surprised to hear his commentary during my Sadiq fight, because he kept talking about Sadiq's power. He kept talking about how hard Sadiq was hitting me. Like, Sadiq would hit me and my head would snap back. Then I hit Sadiq and Sadiq dropped. Like, he dropped to a knee. Like, I rocked him. You know what I mean? Like, but I didn't. But they didn't say a word about it. They just I dropped Sadiq, and then they kept talking about Sadiq's power. What are you talking about? Like, I just dropped the guy. Like, it doesn't make any sense. If we're in the pocket, we're gunslinging, and he hits me, and I take a step back, and I hit him, he takes a knee. Like, no, I won that. You know what I mean? Like, I won that exchange.
Yeah.
Like, how can we keep? Why are we talking about his power if I drop him? And that's not to say he doesn't hit with power. It just doesn't make sense, in my opinion. I felt like the narrative was that he was this crazy power puncher, and they just sort of wrote that out. It doesn't. That it didn't make sense to me going back watching it. The fight was close. He had the second. He definitely had the second. I waited too long at bottom. So obviously he had the second. But I thought my takedowns were on point. I just feel like if you go back and watch that and you're educated on MMA, like, I think that I won. Like, people saw the Kimura, but, like, didn't acknowledge the fact that I had him in a deep armbar. Like, we're trading submission for submission. I took him down. The only time he got on top of me, he did hold me down, but he got on top of me off of a kick that I threw where I slipped. He actually take me down. I don't know. Watching it back, I still feel confident that I won. But again, the game's crazy, and you can't dwell on the highs or dwell on the lows. So props to Sadiq. I wish the judging was a little better, but it was a fight. I don't know. I've gotten better as I've gotten older. Well, I'd like to think I've gotten better as I gotten older. It's still hard. It's still hard, But I've tried to get better at accepting. Like, you can control your performance, you can control your preparation, and you can control the way you feel about things. And that's really it. It all comes down to controlling yourself and being the best that you can be. You can't control the judges. You can't control your opponent. You can't control any of the circumstances around the fight. All you can do is be the best version of yourself. And, I don't feel like I performed exceptionally. I feel like I had a lot better fight in me last fight, but I still think I won. So, take the lesson, leave the experience, as Faber says. It's like water off a duck's back. Just let it roll off your back and on to the next, man.
And so the big thing with your upcoming fight at UFC Apex is that you guys have, first of all, no crowd, but you also have a smaller octagon as well. I don't remember the exact optics, but, it is smaller. Is that something that you're thinking about, the no crowd, the smaller cage, or is it just about going out there and just performing no matter what?
No. Smaller cage just means you can't run from me as much. He has to actually fight me. No, the no crowd thing it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting, man. I talk a lot when I fight, so people might hear that more. I talk in all my fights. I just love to fight, man. And so you probably hear me in there a little more than you would usually with crowd and everything. But no, I don't know. Fighting with no crowd it reminds me of high school or something where you and your guys meet up with a couple other guys, you handle it, and you hope no one's around. You don't want a crowd because
right.
You got to run away. You got to get out of there after. But after you win, you got to dip. It's gonna remind me of that. It's gonna remind me of fighting growing up. But I don't really care about the crowd and the cage. That goes back to what I was talking about, man. You can't control the circumstances around your fight. The best you can do is be in control of yourself and be the best version of yourself you can be. Show up, perform, get your hand raised.
For sure, and that leads me to just one last question. We'll let you go. We'll enjoy your coffee and the training and everything, but kind of an easy one here, but how do you see your fight playing out against Charles Jourdain?
I think I'm going to catch him. I think I'm going to knock him out. I think he's going to get a little too excited to exchange with me. I think he's going to start throwing some big power stuff, and I'm going to have an answer for him. And I don't think he's going to be able to deal with what I'm bringing. I don't think he's going to be able to deal with the power I'm throwing. I feel the crispest, the most technical, the most powerful. I'm the best version of myself I've ever been, and I really feel like when I'm on, I'm the best 45er in the world. And I'm going to be on June 13th, and I'm going to drown him. He's going to crumble under. I think he's going to come out strong. I think he's going to be a game opponent. I'm not overlooking him. I think he's going to be very tough. But I'm tougher and I'm better. I'm going to put him down.
All right. Well, we look forward to it. It's going to be a great fight. And I have to tell you that thanks so much for the time, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate the time. Yeah, stay safe out there, man. Things are crazy right now.